The woman took off her red underwear in the restaurant and stuffed it into the pocket of her wealthy lover. At this moment, her boyfriend Jim saw Samantha through the window and excitedly walked into the restaurant. Samantha, in order to cover up her secret, falsely claimed that her lover Bean was her father. At this moment, Bean asked Jim to sit down, while Samantha hinted that Bean should leave quickly. However, Bean calmly chatted with Jim, while Samantha sat nervously. At this moment, Jim asked Samantha, "Don't you have parents anymore?" But Samantha said she had just met Bean, and Bean was cooperating with Samantha to play a father-daughter role. Samantha was worried that the truth would be exposed, so she wanted Jim to go home first. But when Jim was about to leave, Bean asked Jim to sit down. Jim looked at Samantha helplessly. At this moment, Bean suddenly asked Jim to tell him about Samantha's life, and Samantha kicked Bean with dissatisfaction. Jim praised Samantha from the bottom of his heart, and Samantha smiled and agreed. At this time, Bean asked to know Jim's job. It turned out that Jim had a startup project and was still preparing for salary, but Samantha suddenly interrupted him and denied Jim's previous work. Despite all his efforts, Jim was left speechless by his girlfriend's humiliation, but Bean was very interested in Jim's entrepreneurial project, so he sat in the restaurant with Jim and talked about the project plan, completely ignoring Samantha, who was starting to get angry on the side. When Bean heard that Jim didn't have enough funds, he wrote him a check for $50,000, and Jim excitedly married Samantha. Looking at the rubber ring in his hand, Samantha, although dissatisfied, could only endure it. 10 minutes later, Bean raised his glass to wish the project a successful operation. At this moment, Bean suddenly told Jim, "You will get nothing in a month because you proposed to a gold digger." Samantha is worried that the purpose will be exposed. She pulls Jim and wants to leave the restaurant, but Bean suddenly takes out Samantha's red underwear and tells Jim that he is not Samantha's father. Samantha still wanted to argue, but Jim, who saw the truth, announced his breakup with Samantha directly. In the end, Jim and Bean are capable of celebrating this matter.